Mainstream advice on entrepreneurship is usually wrong. Hala cuts through the noise, delivers actionable insights you can implement today to get 1% better.
Now, I know you're already aware of this, but if you build a fantastic product that is very effective and nobody hears about it, you're not going to make any sales. Without sales, you're not running a business. And that's why marketing is important. Today, we're going to be talking marketing 101 for startups and businesses. And it's also going to double as a book review for the week. And the book we're reviewing is Start With Why, written by Simon Sinek. There's a reason big brands and the world's most popular brands still run adverts. Think Coca Cola, Apple, Amazon, the rest. Every big brand, every major brand you know still runs adverts, even though everybody knows them or a lot of people know them already. Why are they doing that? And you see, the thing is, a lot of people start businesses and they think they're saving costs by not spending on marketing. What you're doing is you're killing your business. If you don't have a steady inflow of traffic, if you don't have a mechanism for people to discover your business, in this case through marketing, you're not running a business. You need sales. Sales are the lifeblood of every business. And that's why we're discussing marketing today. This is going to be a 4-part series, so do well to subscribe to our newsletter, as this video is just going to be like a summary. We're going to touch on a number of things, but we deeply explained it in our newsletter. So do subscribe to our newsletter to get complete understanding of what we'll be talking about. This is Marketing 101 for startups. Now, we're dealing with starting with why, how to market, how to coin your marketing message, starting with why. But before we jump into that, let's understand what happens if you attempt to market your product without starting with why, right? So what happens when you coin your marketing message and you're not starting with why? First, you have to understand that to gain new customers, you need to get people to take certain actions, buy from you, right? They need to buy from you, they need to patronize you for the service that you offer. Now, there are only two ways to get people to take action. Number one, you manipulate it, or number two, you inspire it. Now, companies that coin their marketing message or base their marketing around why usually inspire action, right? And those who do the opposite, who don't coin their marketing around why people should patronize, why people should come to you instead of the 10 other people down the block. Those who don't start with why usually end up manipulating people to patronize them. Now, this might surprise you. Some of the most popular way to manipulate people to buy from you include using fear, peer pressure, aspirational messages, price, yeah, I know price, promises, and influencers. These are ways you manipulate people's behavior and you think you're attracting customers. It's not a sustainable way to build a business. You can't compete on price and expect to build a sustainable business. You need to be able to compete on value, right? In the same way, you cannot continue to manipulate people. I mean, you could only do it once or twice and then you run out of your luck. You cannot continue every time. So what is it that we need to understand on how to inspire action instead of manipulating action? That's what this entire video is about, and as I have pointed out, we explained it deeper in our newsletter. So follow us, subscribe to our newsletter to complete this series. So let's begin. One of the major ways the market or companies manipulate people to buy their products or patronize them is through the use of fear. Now, I want to explain something to you so you understand exactly what we're doing. If you do not coin your marketing right around why people should patronize you, you're going to have to manipulate people. to patronize you, and that's not the right way. So what we're trying to do right now is to understand, right, what it means and the marketing methods you would use if you decide not to coin your marketing around why, right? So that's what we're doing, and one of the ways that companies do that is by using fear. Example, so a man holds up a white egg and says, "This is your brain." Then he cracks the egg, right, into a frying pan, and he says, "This is your brain when you're on drugs." That's fear. Although he's selling the proper message, he's telling you stay away from drugs, but he's using fear, right? He's painting a picture of fear in your mind by he's painting a picture of fear in your mind by cracking that egg into a frying pan and telling you this is your brain when you're on drugs, right? That's the use. That's an example of how people use fear to manipulate people, to patronize them. In this case, the message is right: stay away from drugs. However, the method through which that message is passed is fear, right? Nobody wants their brain in the frying pan, just like the egg, right? So you get the point. And another example is when someone in an advert says cocaine doesn't make you attractive, it makes you dead. Nobody wants to end up dead. That's a fantastic example, by the way. Politicians tell you their opponents will increase tax or spend less on education. Businesses use fear to inspire action and get people to buy their products. Example, someone says every 30 seconds someone dies of heart attack. It's a fact, but you are basing your marketing on fear. You're trying to inspire people to come towards you or buy the service or the product you're offering because they want to escape debt. Another example of people using fear to market product is when maybe someone walks up to you and says, "Hey, do you have snakes in your house?" And you confidently go, "No, I don't." And then he tells you, "Your neighbor does." What that does to you is, out of fear, you're going to have to fumigate your house and your environment, because even though you've kept your house clean, your neighbor hasn't. Now, another way people manipulate others into buying product or into patronizing them is using aspirational message. Now, understand that this is not the best way to market. The use of fear or the use of aspirational marketing, like we're talking about, that's not the best way to market. And usually you resort to all this when you don't start with why. But for us to arrive and make sense of why we should start with why, we need to first understand what happens or how we market when we don't start with why. Right? Okay, great. So the use of aspirational message is another way companies manipulate customers into taking action. An example of that is someone says you can be rich in 6 weeks. Now everybody wants to be rich. And then 6 weeks, that's it. Aspirational message. Aspiration, what you want to be. Or another advert pops up and says you can lose weight in 3 days. Now that's aspiration. It's aspirational, right? You want to, and then everybody sees that advert and jumps in. Okay, what's the product we need to buy that will enable us to lose weight in 3 days, right? Another example of aspirational message is an advert that pops up and says travel to your dream destination. You have that destination in your mind already. Now when an advert triggers that part of your mind, something you love, you want to travel to your dream destination, maybe a childhood memory or something you've held since when you were very little, it triggers that part of your brain that says, I want this product immediately. Let's proceed. Another way companies manipulate people to use their product is through peer pressure. Now, it's simple and it's very common. A lot of companies commonly use this, right? And there are adverts that usually say half the population use their product. Half the population uses their product. Now that's insane, because what it would mean is that in a country of 200 million people, 100 million people trust this particular product. You would be crazy not to trust it also. I mean, you can't be right and 100 million people are wrong. So the use of peer pressure is another way companies manipulate people to use their product when they don't coin their marketing around why. Okay. Another one which is pretty common in this Instagram age is celebrity endorsement. That's peer pressure, right? Manipulations work for businesses to get customers through the door, but you will need a lot more than that if you want to keep building something long term, and if you want to build loyal customers for your business. Manipulation can only get people through the door once or twice. You don't get repeat customers using manipulation, right? And that's why you want to avoid all of these tactics that we're listing out in this first part. I mentioned it's going to be a 4-part series, so this is the first part, right? So all of the tactics that we're mentioning here are those that companies employ when they don't start with why. And you want to avoid this because you can't build long-term businesses out of this. The key takeaway from today's session is that you often need to start employing bad tactics to find customers when you don't start with why, when you don't coin your marketing around why. You start using fear, peer pressure, hope built on the system of breakage to drive interest in your products. This is not a sustainable way to build a business. There is a better, a saner, and more effective way to coin your marketing, to market, to reach people, to inspire people to take action. And that's what we're going to be focusing on in our next video. This is part 1. Join me for part 2 tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for joining us today. Stay ahead in business by following Hal's Daily Insights.